Good morning, church family. Constance has asked me to come to you this morning to provide you with a devotional. So I am going to read to you a crosswalk article by Max Lucado called When You Are Low on Hope. Water. All Noah can see is water. The evening sun sinks into it. The clouds are reflecting in it. His boat is surrounded by it. Water. Water to the north, water to the south, water to the east, water to the west, water. He sent a raven on a scouting mission. It never returned. He sent a dove. It came back shivering and spent, having found no place to roost. Then, just this morning, he tried again. With a prayer, he let it go and watched until the bird was no bigger than a speck on a window. All day, he looked for the dove's return. Now, the sun is setting and the sky is darkening, and he has come to look one final time, but all he sees is water. Water to the north, water to the south, water to the east, water to the, the feeling. You have stood where Noah stood. You've known your share of floods. Flooded by sorrow at the cemetery, stress at the office, anger at the disability in your body or the inability of your spouse. You've seen the floodwater rise. And you've likely seen the sun set on your hopes as well. You've been on Noah's boat. And you've needed what Noah needed. You've needed some hope. You're not asking for a helicopter rescue, but the sound of one would be nice. Hope doesn't promise an instant solution, but rather the possibility of an eventual one. Sometimes all we need is a little hope. That's all Noah needed, and that's all Noah received. Here's how the Bible describes the moment. When the dove returned to him in the evening, there in its beak was a freshly plucked olive leaf. Genesis 8:11. An olive leaf. Noah would have been happy to have the bird, but to have the leaf? This leaf was more than foliage. It was a promise. The bird brought more than a piece of a tree. It brought hope. For isn't that what hope is? Hope is an olive leaf. Evidence of dry land after a flood. Proof to the dreamer that dreaming is worth the risk. To all the Noahs of the world, to all who search the horizon for a fleck of hope, Jesus proclaims, yes. And he comes. He comes as a dove. He comes bearing fruit from a distant land, from our future home. He comes with a leaf of hope. Have you received yours? Don't think your ark is too isolated, especially in this quarantine. Don't think your flood is too wide. Receive his hope, won't you? Receive it because you need it. Receive it so you can share it. Receive his hope, won't you? Receive it because you need it, and again, because you can share it. What do you suppose Noah did with his? What do you think he did with the leaf? Did he throw it overboard and forget about it? Do you suppose he stuck it in his pocket and saved it for a scrapbook? Or do you think he let out a whoop and assembled the troops and passed it around like the Hope Diamond? Certainly he whooped. That's what you do with hope. What do you do with olive leaves? You pass them around. You don't stick them in your pocket. You give them to the ones you love. Love always hopes. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. 1 Corinthians 13:4. Love has hope in you. The aspiring young author was in need of hope. More than one person had told him to give up. Getting published is impossible, one mentor said. Unless you're a national celebrity, publishers won't talk to you. Another warned, "Writing takes too much time. Besides, you don't want all your thoughts on paper." Initially, he listened. He agreed that writing was a waste of effort and turned his attention to other projects. But somehow, the pen and pad were bourbon and coke to a wordaholic. He'd rather write than read, so he wrote. How many nights did he pass out on that couch in the corner of the apartment, reshuffling his deck of verbs and nouns? And how many hours did his wife sit with him? He wordsmithing, she cross-stitching. Finally, a manuscript was finished, crude and laden with mistakes, but finished. She gave him the shove. Send it out. What's the harm? So out it went, mailed to 15 different publishers. While the couple waited, he wrote. While he wrote, she stitched, neither expecting much, both hoping everything. Responses began to fill the mailbox. I'm sorry, but we don't accept unsolicited manuscripts. We must return your work. Best of luck. Our catalog doesn't have room for unpublished authors. I still have those letters, somewhere in a file. Finding them would take time. Finding Denelyn's cross-stitch, however, would take none. To see it, all I have to do is lift my eyes from this monitor and look at the walls. Of all those arts in which the wise excel, nature's chief masterpiece is writing well. She gave it to me about the time the 15th letter arrived. The publisher had said yes. That letter is also framed. Which of the two is more meaningful? The gift from my wife or the letter from the publisher? The gift, hands down. For in giving the gift, Denelyn gave me hope. Love does that. Love extends an olive leaf to the loved ones and says, I have hope in you. Love is just as quick to say, I have hope for you. You can say those words. You are a flood survivor. By God's grace, you have found your way to dry land. You know what it's like to see the water subside. And since you do, since you passed through a flood and lived to tell about it, you are qualified to give hope to someone else. Love you guys. Go spread hope. Go spread love, especially in this time that we need it.